Pressed it
This
twice.
conference will now be recorded.
That's better. Okay, you gotta tap once, not twice. All right. So welcome to the August session of the Arlington County Senior Democratic Lunch. The Omicron variant continues to be very prevalent in Arlington. We've just had this past month, we've had an outbreak on my floor of my mother's facility, and 8 people caught it. It's very bad for people, particularly in assisted living facilities, to get it. We also now have an official expression of concern over the nationwide over the monkeypox virus. So things aren't heading north, but I do continue to look forward to the day we can all meet together. I should tell you that this Saturday we are restarting the open for all age groups Democratic breakfast. It's moved to the second Saturday, and Bus Boys and Poets now charges $200 for using the room. So for this Saturday, it's being underwritten by Carol Fontaine and Inta Mattis. And next month, I'm underwriting the cost of breakfast, but we will look for a good solution for the senior Democrats when it's time to join. We have 2 different topics for today's meeting. The first one is the joint campaign, which affects our races in November, and the second one are the bond referenda. And we have one of the co-chairs of the school bonds to present the school bonds, and then I've got a PowerPoint slide I'll go through for the other bond issues. So Praveen, you are one of the county board, the ACDC designated joint campaign co-chairs. I think it's very useful if you could first start off by defining what the joint campaign is, how it is funded, and then get into its different activities and tell us how we can help you with it. So I'll give the floor to Praveen. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Sorry if there's some noise in the background. There's some construction going on. Please let me know if it's difficult to hear me. But thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be with you all here today. Just some background on the joint campaign. It is a subcommittee within the Arlington County Democratic Committee appointed by our chair, Steve Baker, to coordinate our field efforts and our outreach for the fall campaign. We coordinate with the campaign to the Arlington County Democratic Committee. We fundraise and also do our outreach efforts on behalf of our wonderful candidates here that we have in the fall election. So serving this year on the joint campaign are myself. We always have one elected official on the joint campaign, and so that is County Board Member Takis Karantonis this year. We're also joined by Matt Royer and Karen Isabel on the joint campaign as well. I know that Bob mentioned that he'll be going through a little bit more about the bond vote results a little bit later, so don't have to really cover that. But we are working on ways with the campaign to make sure that we can reach as many people as we can and tell them about our wonderful candidates this year. We just actually, exciting news, ordered our grip card and our door hangers, about 20,000 pieces, 15,000 door hangers. So we hope to reach about 15,000 people. And the door hangers will have all 3 of our candidates. That's Congressman Don Beyer, County Board Member Matt DeFerranti, and our school board nominee endorsee Bethany Sutton. And so that'll be our universe this year. The other exciting news is that we'll soon have information on our gold card events, which are 4 fundraising events that are put together by the joint campaign to help our funding for outreach and to make sure that we have all the resources we need going into the fall election. So these are the dates right now. September 5th is the chili cook-off. September 17th is honoring a senior Democrat. We will be, revealing who that will be after some discussions with the steering committee as well. Oktoberfest will be partnering with the Arlington Young Democrats for Knocktoberfest, which is on October 1st. And then on October 15th is our Golden Gala, which is always a very fun event to be able to get together and mingle, enjoy some food and drink, and talk about our wonderful candidates as well. So we really look forward to revealing more information on that soon. As mentioned, there will be details on how you can purchase either tickets to individual events or as a package deal, which is known as the Gold Card, which gives you access to all the events. We'll also be, coordinating with another committee on Dollars for Dems. It's a letter that goes out to previous donors that helps us fundraise for our efforts as well. And just to point that out, in 2021, Dollars for Democrats raised over $23,000. Since 2015, Dollars for Dems, just the simple fact of mailing this letter out and asking for donations to help our efforts has raised over $150,000. So this letter will be going out to about 1,700 previous donors. Some dates to keep on your calendars if you're interested in helping our efforts there. August 16th will be the date that they're stuffing, sealing, and stamping the envelopes, and we're hoping to have them dropped off by the post office by September 3rd, and so the letters will actually reach the donors after Labor Day. I know that everyone gets really excited about yard signs, and so for our median signs, August 22nd is the first day that signs can be placed around medians in Arlington. So if you see any candidates or any campaigns that have their yard signs out now, please let us know because you're not allowed to do that just yet. We know that some campaigns are ill-informed and have started placing their yard signs. That is not allowed. So please let us know so that we can file a complaint directly with the committee. And, we want to be fair to everybody running and that everybody's following the rules. Yes, Bob?
I just, speaking as a member of the campaign sign ordinance task force that drafted the ordinance, I just want to correct you on one very minor point. It turns out that any time throughout the year, from sundown Friday to sundown Sunday, people can put out signs in the median strips and the right-of-ways. It is just during the 30 days before the start of the election that you can put them out continuously. So if I were a Republican running for Congress, I could put out a sign this Friday night and take it down Sunday night, and I would not be violating the ordinance. The problem is that some of the people that do that don't bother to take it down on Sunday and put it up the following Friday. So I appreciate what you said, but I just don't want people to freak out over the fact that there are more signs on weekends right now than you suggest. Thank you.
Absolutely, Bob. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that clarification. That is right. But we have seen some candidates leave out their signs all week, and so we're referring to that. So that is an important note. I don't think that they're being planning them on Friday and taking them down by Sunday. We are seeing them throughout the week. So we're just asking everyone to be vigilant, and if you do see them, and if you can send us a quick note about when and where you saw them, especially since Bob was very kind to inform us about the rule about it being okay on weekends. We'd like to know that it's up during the week so that we can file a formal complaint on that.
But we should not take them down ourselves.
You should not take them down yourselves. Please just let us know and we'll handle it. Yeah, that we strongly do not want anyone taking down signs or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay, great.
But the other big service that Praveen and the Joint Campaign offer is they will put them up in mass. So they have a sign planting team that goes out the 30th day, the first day of legality, and puts them all up in a very systematic way along routes on median strips and so on. So if you're a sign planting lover, sign up with Praveen, and he'll make sure that you can plant signs to your heart's delight on the first day that it's legal.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be planting those all around the medians. Where we're allowed to do so. And Mark is on the campaign. Matt DeFronte's campaign. He's on the call. We'll be coordinating with the different campaigns to get their individual lawn signs. And the joint campaign will also be purchasing a limited number of yard signs, which will have all three candidates on one sign to be placed around medians and polling locations only. So those are a limited number. So unfortunately, we won't be able to hand them out for individual placement on your front yards, but they will be visible for all county residents as they travel around the county on medians, and then definitely at polling locations as well as we get closer to actual voting. And then on that note, yep.
I'm sorry. Is Mark Teal's house going to be Sign Central again this year? Okay. I know that's been the case in the past.
Mark is stuck until he leaves the county. We're going to make him be Sign Central for life.
It's great. Okay. I know where he lives. Helpful.
We're very grateful to have Mark on board again this year, and so we'll certainly be sharing all those details about where you can pick up yard signs, where folks can help volunteer to place those yard signs in medium. This is all hands on deck. So if anybody is inclined to volunteer, we would love to have you join our efforts. And we touched briefly upon the polling location. So early in-person voting is going to start on Friday, September 23rd. So the volunteer email will be going out over the next couple of weeks. So if you are available to help out with early voting at polling locations or any other way, please respond to that volunteer email, or just shoot me a note anytime. I'm happy to coordinate that and make sure that we have the opportunity and the resources to make sure that we're reaching all our potential voters. In terms of our field operations, our goal, as I previously mentioned, is 15,000 doors. That we feel very confident we'll be able to reach that number and possibly exceed it. There is a canvas launch coming up just this week on August 13th at 11 a.m. at 2 p.m. To sign up, please email Mark, who's on this call. You can email him at mark@mattforarlington.com. I'm sure he'll be happy to put it in the chat as well if you're interested in canvassing this weekend. The Bethany Sutton campaign is also co-sponsoring it. So, it's a great time in the summer to get out, talk to voters, shake off that rust, and especially as we head into that fall election season where we'll be doing a lot more phone banking and canvassing on behalf of our three candidates as well. So, Bob, I don't know, are you able to give me ability to share screen? Is that something that you're able to do? If not, it's okay, but if you are, I just thought it'd be nice to.
There should be a screen icon at the bottom of your window. Do you see it, Praveen?
Yeah,
it says,
unfortunately,
my camera screen.
Unfortunately, it's not working for me for whatever reason, but that's okay. I was just gonna show everybody our design for the grip card, but it's been sent to print, so you'll be seeing it very shortly. To be able to hand out, and also the door hanger version as well. That once we start on our canvas launch. So I'm happy to take any questions if there are any about joint campaign or any of his activities.
Well, just at the highest level, there are essentially three funding sources for the joint campaign. The first is that each of the campaigns contributes an assessment into the campaign. So the campaigns fundraise themselves and throw it into a common pot. There's also the Dollars for Democrats, and there are other things like admission to the gold card events and selling bumper stickers and things. And essentially it is either break even or makes a slight profit that then gets rolled back into the ACDC budget. But it probably is about half of our activity for the year. So you have quite a big responsibility. But everybody can contribute either through Dollars for Democrats or buying the gold card. Do you want to comment further on that, Praveen?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, Bob. It's a huge undertaking. We have to develop a budget that we do share with the steering committee, and that is approved. So we did come up with that. JCC also pays for a share of the office space at ACDC HQ. We do help out with that, but we're very confident that we'll be able to hit all our targets with everybody's support. As previously mentioned, I see Carol Burnett has joined the call. Dollars for Dems is a great, great initiative that helps towards that. Our gold card events are our biggest kind of driver of making sure that we raise funds. So if you're able to, we would really appreciate you attending those events, all of them if you can, or individually if you're able to. As mentioned, the campaigns themselves also contribute to JCC as well. So this is a holistic effort on behalf of the campaigns and ACDC in making sure that we elect all our Democrats this fall, and we continue to keep Arlington blue.
But it's much more efficient than each campaign replicating the entire field operation on their own. I mean, you printing grip cards to cover everybody is much more efficient than each campaign printing up their own grip cards and messengers and so on. So I think everybody thinks this is wonderful and efficient, and you're the envy of every other county in Virginia. It's really a very good thing that we're doing. Any other questions for Praveen?
Yeah, Bob, I have one question. Praveen, Mary Detweiler. In the past, we have had what we call depots where yard signs are strategically in somebody's garage in different parts of Arlington so that volunteers, particularly precinct captains, can come fetch them and give them to their volunteers who ask for them. Now, since we will not be having yard signs from the joint campaign with all three candidates available for private yards, I think having Don Byers, Matt DeFronte's, and Bethany Sutton's yard signs would be especially important for people who ask for something. So in the past, my home up in North Arlington has been one place where people can come and fetch them from my garage. And I'll bet there'll be other places around Arlington we could do that as well, just so we get those yard signs out there when people want them.
Absolutely. I think that is a great idea. We haven't made any decisions on where that will be hosted, but we will certainly try to have multiple areas to make it as accessible as possible, that people can grab them and make it as convenient as possible. So yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I offer my garage if we want to do that again in my place.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay.
We might just take you up on that.
Yes, Debbie, Mary Detweiler's garage is what made Westover famous. Any other questions?
Yeah, we normally do the when it's time to take all those yard signs off the median strips and after the polling sites have closed, we also put them into my garage. People know on my driveway, and we have a massive disassembling party, and we get all those wickets to the Shirlington Trade Center a few days after that, dispose of all the plastic and paper signs and all that stuff. So that's another thing we can think about, but that would be right after the polling sites have closed.
I'd be happy to have signs at my house in South Arlington too, especially since we're doing a meet and greet or a canvassing out of my garage or somewhere on the 27th. So assume that we'd be, getting some signs anyway, but near Crystal City, Pentagon City area. So I'd be happy to do that as well.
Natalie lives in the Alps of Arlington.
Right, the very southern edge.
Yes. Okay. Well, and anything else? Otherwise, I do want to call upon Debbie, Pierre-Louise, who is the co-chair of the school bond campaign. Each year, we have, in addition to the candidates, we have a separate school bond campaign with two co-chairs. Many years it's one Republican and one Democrat. And this is again a nonpartisan operation to promote the school bond issue. And I'll turn the floor over to Debbie for a few words about the school bonds.
Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Pierre-Louis, and I want to first of all thank you for inviting me to this meeting, Bob. And I also want to say thank you to Barbara, Carol, Monique, and Mary for all of your help and support and getting introduced to this. This is my first foray into Arlington County. I've been a resident off and on since about '93. The military brought me here. I'm from Southern California, but what's important here is that I'm hoping to, or we're hoping, obviously, to get your support for the renovation plan for the Arlington Career Center. And there have been some initial briefs on the Career Center, but just a quick reminder, it's broken into three basic areas: the major building systems, things like the HVAC, the common space, the kitchen. I don't know how many of you have been to the Career Center recently. My daughter is a recent graduate of Arlington Tech. She's actually going to Marymount, so she's close by. And the cafeteria is very small. The gym is a combination of gym and I believe the wood shop is on one side. And next to it is the automotive. So it's just there's really not even room to just stand and play a game of simple basketball or something. It's just very crowded in there, and allowing the students to have space would be wonderful. Included in that common space, like I said, the cafeteria. We are just right now talking about the Omicron variant. Having space within the campus is extremely important, and this expands things like the cafeteria in the classroom, so the students have more open space on the campus and outside the campus, so they can also be safe. In addition, the renovation includes the education space. So these are the classrooms, the workspaces where all of our students learn. And the Career Center isn't just for students that are actually attending on campus full time. There are students from all of the local schools that can and if available do take classes also at the Career Center. So giving them the ability to safely park and come in and out of the buildings, as well as providing ways for the buses and parents to get in and out, are also included in this renovation. So we're really trying to make a space where it is efficient and also just make it more available for these students to learn and create better citizens. So let me see. So the support we need, and again, I'm just getting. Oh wait, last part I want to say is this is the last high school in renovation in the county. So I've been here long enough to watch Washington Liberty get renovated, Yorktown, and Wakefield. So here we are now, landed at the Arlington Career Center. So I find it very important to provide the same attention that we gave those sites to give that to the Career Center as well, because those students are just as important, and that investment, they will feel that it's important for them to know that their community cares about them. The support we need from right now is signs. I heard we were just talking about signs. So Anthony Matterall, my co-chair, some may know him. We come up with a plan. Initial plan was to focus on the early in-person voting and put some signs at those sites. I think there were between 4 or 5, as well as the polling places on election day. So in addition, it was just recently decided we would definitely like to go to the famous or infamous Mark Till's home and drop off the signs. Some of the came out as we're new. I'm new in this process, And I don't know where all of these signs are, but folks like Monique have reached out to me. I received some information from the Career Center as well on some leads as to where signs can be, but it seems like the signs have been distributed in many, many places. So really any help with that would be greatly appreciated. At this point, we would be more than likely looking for additional funding to make make nicer signs for the early in-person voting and the election day. So your support would be greatly appreciated, as well as allowing us to give you the signs and help us put those up. And if there are any other ideas that you may have for us to get the word out there about the school bond, please know. In addition, if there are any questions, answer for you if you have specific interest. I can do that, and I can forward a presentation I have and give that to Bob, and he can send that out to you all. So at this point, oh yeah, and lastly, I said that twice. Facebook. So we do have a Facebook page. So I'll be going into that Facebook page and adding some information in the next week or two, so that way we can start getting the word out about the school bond. So subject to your questions, that's all I have right now. And again, thank you for hosting this meeting and having me here with you today.
That was a very good presentation, Debbie. I should point out that just as ACDC and the candidate campaigns file with the State Board of Election, the school bond campaign has a separate reporting account with them. I have the good fortune of being treasurer, so for many years I've accounted for every penny and filed it. So be sure that when we do make donations to the fund, which we definitely love, that we need to get your details so we can fill out the campaign disclosure just as we do with all the other candidates. The same rules apply. If I could, I would like to share my screen and go over the other bonds. I think the school bond is very important, but we do have a few others on the menu here, and I'm going to go to slideshow from the beginning. All right, can everybody see my slides? So I personally think that you know, the best measure of a county as a community is how carefully does it plan and how carefully does it act not only for today but for future cohorts and generations. You know, we want a county that spends its money wisely, but we also want a county that is willing to make the investment so that we have a wonderful county both today and in the future. And it's always a very delicate political question as to how do you balance money you spend for today in the moment versus investing in the future of Arlington. And I think that the county's done a wonderful job over the last 2 or 3 decades, and we're responsible. We don't just let things go to waste and pray for a federal bailout. We've really done a good job, and these bond issues are the test and testament to that. And the most important thing to remember is that we have a AAA bond rating from all 3 major bond rating agencies. And this allows us to borrow money at the lowest possible interest rates, and that these expenditures in the current bond issues are designed to maintain our AAA bond rating. There are 5 issues on the ballot, and we're asking the voters to vote yes 5 different times. Metro and transportation, local park and recreation, community infrastructure, Arlington Public Schools, and stormwater. Those are the 5 bond issues. Debbie has done a wonderful job of explaining the Arlington Public Schools, but I want to talk about the other 4. Now, one of the things you should realize is that, you know, there's probably no reason to oppose any of these. But given past experience, sometimes the Republican Party sees one issue to oppose, like several times they've opposed the park bond issue in the past. Last year and the year before, people put up vote no signs on the school bonds, in part because of anger over COVID closing issues. So we don't know where opposition strikes, but we have to be prepared to face opposition and to have people like the Joint Campaign answer questions and anticipate questions about the bond issues and why Arlington Democrats support them. And again, these bond issues have been vetted and approved by, in one case, the school board, and in the other cases, the county board. It's all part of the CIP Master Capital Spending Plan. For metro transportation, you know, in most cities like Chicago or New York or Atlanta, the metro system has its own borrowing authority and finances its own capital needs as a system, as a separate entity. But the way that Metro works here with an interstate compact, there is a parsing out of shares to different counties, and we have to fund $21.3 million. And that means we have to go out, essentially borrow it, which means we have to issue bonds for it. In addition, there's $7 million for paving local roads and $1.6 million for bridge maintenance. So that's the metro transportation bond. Parks and recreation, the biggest thing is going to be the trail and bridge modernization program, $500,000 for park maintenance, and $600,000 for Roslyn Highland Park. The community infrastructure bond, and a good part of this money goes to projects that are proposed by the individual community associations and so on. But this year it's pretty high. We're asking for $7.4 million. 3.5 will go to fire station renovations, $2 million for the courthouse complex, and $1.9 million for these other facilities maintenance and capital projects. Stormwater, you know that in recent years we set up a separate stormwater authority, and now we're starting to borrow money as that to be repaid under our future water and storm wastewater sewage bills. And so that future stream of water bills will pay the mortgage on $50 million worth of renovation. And here you can see where the money's going. The biggest amount going to Sprout Run watershed, flood risk reduction, $5 million, land acquisition, $5 million, Torrey Run, Lumber Run. We're going to fix up the Ballston Pond, which is this area right off of 66, various watershed retrofits, and the Dumbarton culverts. So that covers the bond issues. Are there any questions about the bond issues? Anybody have a question about the bond issues? Okay. The other bond issues do not have separate campaigns. Some years there are signs that are put up for the park bond, but this year they're not doing that. They haven't done that for several years. But there is a Friends of the Arlington Parks that sort of advocate for that, just like we've got the school bond campaigns advocating for the schools. But nobody seems to want to be Mr. Champion of wastewater, so I guess it's up to every Arlington Democrat to praise that bond issue. Any other messages for the good of the order?
Bob, I was just curious if you knew the Ballston Pond renovation or whatever it is. Can you give us any more info about that? I'm just curious.
Well, I think if you go to the website, you'll see details, but basically There's runoff from areas like I-66 that are below normal street level, and the water has to go somewhere. And so more and more, we are designing our highways to have it run off someplace where it can be naturally filtered rather than put into a pipe that immediately flows into the Potomac. And that's one example of how to do it. So they're going to upgrade the effectiveness of that pond. And again, this is a little sort of pocket park that sits right at where I-66 goes on a 45-degree angle to sort of bend around the north side of Ballston.
Yeah, it used to be a old railroad trestle went across there, as I recall, back when Bon Air Park had good air instead of Route 66 through it. But that's ancient history.
Yeah, but now we have a rose garden, so it's okay. Any other questions? Okay. And Mark, we all owe you a debt of gratitude for being the long-term yard sign czar, and we really appreciate that.
Carol Burnett really does the vast amount of the work, putting together all the volunteers and stuff. So if folks want to volunteer or know someone else would be willing to volunteer, I put her email in earlier. We'll be getting yard signs in for Matt and for Bethany to assemble, hopefully sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and the joint campaign. In the school bond, I guess I need to iron out. I wasn't sure. I thought they decided not to put signs in the median, but if they're going to put signs in the median.
No, I think that was just ignorance. I finally had a chance to get in touch with both of them, and I think we are going to try to get the signs. It's just a question of retrieving them. We have hundreds of them. It's just that they were divided up into different people's basements, and we have to retrieve them now. I mean, we
totally understand people not wanting to store them because my wife falls in that category.
Yes. But these are highly educated signs because they're school bond signs. So hopefully they find homes with highly educated people. But we have to get them back. And, you know, unlike ACDC, where there's a great continuity of leadership other than the treasurer, we get new people recruited every year and they start from square one. And so I have to sort of try to coach them into a continuity on that. But obviously we have signs. We just have to get them and get them to you by the deadline. Yeah. Okay.
Bob? Yeah, one thing that would really be helpful, I think the last 2 years we've had this question that somehow pops around to me as a depository in my driveway of all the median strips and the polling site yards. Who took the school bond signs, Mary? Where do they go? And of course I have no clue. Somebody comes and picks them up and off they go. We need to have an archive, a drawer that we keep with the joint campaign that gets passed over to the next year, but everybody knows to go in there and pull out the drawer that says school bond signs, and everybody who's storing them would be there so that we don't have these emails going all over the place every year to say, where are they? And of course we have no idea.
Right, and the trouble is that we have co-chairs, which by definition means you have a division of responsibility, and to a certain extent, when it comes time to keep track of who took which signs, you get into a bit of oh, I thought he was keeping track. No, I thought she was keeping track, kind of thing. So, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, one person, Debbie or Anthony, could simply give a report to the joint campaign to say, for your archive for the year 2023, this is where they're all stored. This is the person who will know where they all are, and contact that person.
Yes.
I agree with that. That would definitely be wonderful. I can say that this, you know, I've been given like a total of like 8 names for signs, and 4 of the people definitely say they have them, and then I have 2 more that hint at either they have them or they know where they are. So it's a lot. I mean, and so I agree with you, and I'll commit myself to do that. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. That's a
One thing that
wonderful.
could help is to start recruiting now for people to store it for next year, because it's hard to find people who are willing to store a lot of signs for a year. They take up.
And remember, they will all be sitting out on my driveway. And if it's a drenching rain for a couple of days, then we had to put them all out on all over my lawn to try to dry them out before we stack them up. So that's a huge, so if you know who's going to take them prior to election day, then they know to zip over to my yard at the right moment and gather them accordingly before it rains.
Yeah, the other factor that I think we should explain to the people in the audience is that the design of the sign does not change from year to year. You know, we have a different person running for county board every year. We have a different person running for school board every year. But vote yes on school bonds is sort of a non-changing theme. So it makes sense to recycle signs when the message doesn't change from year to year. That's something that might have gone over a few people's heads here. And signs are very expensive. I mean, just about the only two things I've ever spent money on as treasurer are signs, and then when we have a little money left over, some Facebook ads. So that's really the big thing. So I really, you know, I should say, I probably should have said this at the outset. The reason why we had this meeting this month on this theme is I think there's a misconception that there's somehow this big professional detached political machine that does the campaign like by magic. You know, someone snaps their finger and this finely tuned Swiss watch starts to hum and everything happens magically. And that's just not the case. I mean, we are what makes the joint campaign happen. And there are a few times when some of the details you heard today makes it like watching sausage being made. But generally speaking, it is very well organized. It is something that everybody in this phone call can be proud of. And it's something where every one of us can contribute in many different ways. So I thought it was very important to devote this month's lunch to understand what is going to happen between now and November, and the fact that really the Democratic cause is counting on people like us to help make it happen. And you know, it's wonderful because some stuff, if you're worried about COVID, you can do from your home. Other stuff, you know, if you want to get out and put on signs, you can put up signs. You can go to a chili cook-off. You can do whatever you want to the extent you feel comfortable. But it's very important that you realize that it is really us. It's not them. And I hope everybody picked up on that by listening to today's phone call. Okay, anything else people want to say for the good of the order here? Yes, Mary.
Real quick, Bob. Yeah, thank you for mentioning this is absolutely volunteer powered. We are the quote unquote machine. I wanted to be sure while we have Debbie on the line to make sure that it's clear that when it comes time to put the polling site, not the early voting sites, that's separate, but the polling sites for all the 54 polling sites, that again is coordinated through the joint campaign, and Carol Burnett and others coordinate who will put them up at specific polling sites, and those people are instructed as to where to place them the night prior to the election. So that is all another joint campaign operation.
Yeah, it has to happen. It has to happen in just a few hours, because if you put them out too far in advance, school janitors and other people tear them down. So we have this massive campaign of people, some of whom have flashlights, going out that evening, putting them up so they're all in place the next morning. And it's quite a undertaking to go to 54 different places and put up the signs. Yes, you're absolutely right, Mary. Okay, any other points? Okay, well, we want to thank you all for tuning in. Our next one will be the second Tuesday in September. By then you will have had the chili cook-off, where the chili is always delicious. And you'll also have the Arlington Civic Federation debate the date after Labor Day, where the politics will be very hot and heavy. And I think the bond issues will be presented as well as the candidates debating. So those are two things you should put on your calendar, and then we'll see you the second Tuesday in September for more senior Democratic lunch. Again, thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.